Hey guys, it's Allison here, and I am about to tackle day 6 of LOAD218, that is layout a day. And today I'm actually going to tackle 2 different adventures from our Choose Your Own Adventure theme. The first one is about scrapbooking a life experience. So the question posed was, what kind of life experiences do you try to bring into your life? And we definitely try to give our children experiential gifts rather than things, and the whole album that I'm doing for Load or during Load is about one day in our trip to Britain this past summer, which to me is all about bringing in experiences into our lives that we feel are important and scrapbook worthy. And in particular, I'm going to talk about the story of the butterbeer. This was one thing that we definitely wanted to experience when we were at the Harry Potter studios, and we almost missed it. So it's very important to get us into the book. And then the second adventure is to use something that we have made. So custom made paper, stamps, inks, paints, whatever. So I'm actually going to use some stamps. Now I have prepped things, got them to a certain point, just so that I could sort of have an idea of exactly how visible this is going to be. Now I'm going to put this to the side and make this patterned. This is just actually sketchbook paper. It's not even scrapbooking paper. It was just in my scrap bag. And then I'm going to be using this stamp. This is, I think it was Kelly Perky. Yes, it's called Potterhead. Date there says 2016, Kelly Perky. And I've used a few of them on other layouts, but there are definitely certain ones that pertain to butterbeer in particular. So I thought I could just kind of make a collage on here of all the different stamps. And I've just pulled out a variety of ink. Not that gray one, that's my edging ink. So this is from Simon Says Stamp is Barely Beige. And I've got 2 different blues. This one is a Ranger Archival ink in Paradise Teal, and then a Stampin' Up! Island Indigo. And then another Ranger ink. Honestly, I can't read what that color that is because my eyes are old. And then black if I need to add a punch of a more grounding color. Okay, so I'm just going to get started stamping. And once I get it to a point that I am happy with it, I will stop. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually get my stamp chamois nice and wet and ready to go so that I can clean my stamps in between. And my thought process was to use as many stamps from the stamp set as possible and try and get a real variety both in stamp placement and then the colors sort of spread around the page. I have used a couple of these stamps on previous layouts, and I will continue to use the stamps throughout this book on different pages. So this page in particular is right now the very, very last page in my album because this was the last thing we did, really. It might change. I might kind of do a recap or something, but for now it's living at the back of my album. So to have this page, this piece of patterned paper on my last layout that includes all the different stamps that could theoretically show up throughout the album is kind of a cool thing. I think it really ties everything together. So I'm trying to spread the stamps around, the colors around. I'm not doing a super fantastic job of cleaning my stamp every time because you can see that some of the colors are not sort of true. Like the yellow in particular keeps picking up bits of the blues. But I'm okay with that, actually. It sort of works. The papers that the paper that the photos are mounted on is from Maggie Holmes Bloom. And it's got the blues and the grays and the yellows. It's also got some pink on it, but I was trying to pick up most of the blue and the yellow. The yellow in particular because it is... well, it's butterbeer, so I really wanted to have yellow. Yeah, so I'm just finishing up adding in some little stamps to fill in the gaps. and then once that's all finished, then I can trim the paper down. I do have a smudge on the right there, sort of in the middle of the paper, and that was, I think I accidentally touched the stamp chamois against the paper, so I was like, ah, crap. But I just trimmed that paper down to get rid of it. Now the papers I am using, in the background there, I have this really subtle sort of herringbone beige on cream, I believe, pattern from Chamel's original collection. And then the camera print is from her Little by Little collection. And the colors all work together beautifully with the bloom pattern, which you can't see very much of, but just enough that all the colors get brought together. And yes, I am going to cover up a fair bit of the stamping that I have just worked so hard to create, but I'm okay with that. The point of the exercise was to create a patterned paper, and when you are making layouts with patterned paper, you don't purposefully try to leave all the patterns showing. That would be really hard to do, because the point of the layout is to have photos on it and tell a story, and have the patterns complement that and decorate it, I guess. So totally fine with having most of that covered up. There's enough showing that you get the idea that this pattern goes on, and I believe all the stamps are represented in the section that's showing. So you saw me cut out that butterbeer sign. That was a photo taken of the sign over top of the kiosk where the butterbeer was sold. And originally I thought I would use it as a 4x6, but it sort of took over. And then I decided to cut it out and make it as part of my title. So my title is Our Butterbeer Adventures, because there's a fairly good story to go with this. And I end up writing it around the perimeter of the layout. It creates this lovely frame in the end. And there's no way I can get a picture of it, so I am just going to read it to you, because it's quite a good story, I think. Okay, so one of the things we were all looking forward to experiencing during the tour was the butterbeer. There was so much to see, and Marley was worried we would run out of time to see it all. So when we reached the cafe in the middle of the tour, we skipped it, thinking the cafe at the entrance would have all the same items. How wrong we were. We missed our one and only chance to taste this delicacy, and we were all rather upset. I eventually begged one of the girls working at the customer service desk to help us out, and guess what? She took us back through the exhibit and the staff-only areas all the way to the cafe, just so we wouldn't miss out. How awesome was she? And how was it, you ask? Yummy, frothy, creamy, worth every rushed step. At least Marley and I thought so. I'm not sure Paige was as convinced. One less item on our bucket list, right? So Paige is, she's my middle daughter. She's the one pictured in the lower left. And she generally is more hesitant when trying new things. So she was, it took her a little longer to sort of come to the conclusion that yes, this was a really delicious drink. And I think her expression in that photo really sums it all up. So I'm almost finished. I just wanted to add a little bit of decoration, and right where I have just placed that blue camera, there was a little blue smudge on the paper that I didn't want to trim off because I felt that would remove too much of the stamping. So I figured I'm just going to cover it with some decorations, and went to the Glitter Girl sticker set, and I'm going to use 3 of those sort of washi squares, and then 3 sort of stickers that I've put on Pop-Tarts. And basically I am trying to bring all the different colors into each section. So the blue, the yellow, and even a bit of black. So So it doesn't take me long. I didn't feel like this needed a lot of decoration because I really wanted the focus to be on that stamped paper that I created and the journaling, which you can see now just creates this lovely frame around the layout. So some last enamel dot additions and the layout is finished. It was really fun to make, and I'm so glad that I was able to get this story into my album. Yeah, it's going to be a little tricky for people to read because they have to turn the layout around, but you know, sometimes you just got to make people work for it. Oh, there you can see the owl there. You know, she's got the blue undertones in her yellow feathers. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm really glad that I was able to get this up. There was a little corruption in the video, so I was a little worried there, but I fixed it. And on to the next one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.